Established over 100 years ago, Watkins Books is one of the world's oldest and leading independent bookshops specializing in esoterica. We have the widest selection of esoteric books in the UK, and our friendly and knowledgeable staff are here to assist you in a unique ambience of our shop. So come and visit us in the heart of London as we're open every day.
The Moore Show is supported by Mindscape, Paranormal and UFO Matrix magazines, available for download on all major digital platforms. The comments and views expressed on The Moore Show are those of the people that make them and do not necessarily reflect the view of Kevin Moore, The Moore Show, or this radio station and its affiliate or sponsors. This show is for entertainment purposes only.
Broadcasting from the UK and across the world online, you're now watching the UK's only alternative late-night talk show, and I'm your host, Kevin Moore. For the next hour, I'll be covering subjects that will open up your mind and provide you with information you may have never heard before. On today's show, I'm joined with Lee Milteer, who is an internationally known and celebrated entrepreneur. Now, she's a visionary, best-selling author, award-winning professional speaker, TV personality, and intuitive business mentor. Lee Milteer is a rare soul who lives and thrives in both the business and metaphysical worlds. As a Reiki healer and shaman, she runs the Lee Milteer School of Wisdom, where she teaches her students how to manifest on levels far beyond that of mainstream education or businesses. Her latest book, Reclaim the Magic, will invoke a consciousness shift and an awakening within you to manifest your heart's true desires. This book will give you the tools and concepts to claim your natural birthright power as a manifestor to become fully conscious of the abilities you have within yourself and to evolve you into your authentic being. Lee Milteer, welcome to the show.
Thank you very, very much. I'm very excited to be here with you today.
It's great to have you on. Your book, it's just to hold it as well. It's got a bit of an energy about it. I think it has. It's very grand.
Thank you so much. The guy who did the cover of the book won $1 million at the Super Bowl for an ad, and I was really fortunate to get to talk to him about my vision of what the book should look like. And having the clouds and the you can't see it, but there's a lot of it's not glitter, but it almost looks like glitter. It has a really nice energy about it. I was very pleased.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were just saying off air there that you're actually based in Virginia Beach, Virginia, where the Edgar Cayce Center is. Is there any reasons why you're there? Because that's a very, as you've said as well, it's a bit of a vortex place as well.
Well, Virginia Beach is this very small little town right on the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay and the Atlantic Ocean, and it's a very interesting spiritual town, very metaphysical, and just this wonderful energy town. I love it. I could live anywhere in the world. It's not the most convenient places for airplanes, by the way. But I have spoken at the ARE a number of times. I like to go down there. There's just something great about this area. Like Sedona, Arizona collects metaphysical, conscious type of people, and so does Virginia Beach. So I feel very lucky. And of course, we also have the flip side of that, of the serious, very strict religious people. So when you come here, you can tell which side everybody's on very quickly.
Yes, I'm sure you can, and your side's always been. Let's ask you: has it always been in the spiritual side? Where has this spiritual side of you come from?
I think my spiritual side came from I grew up in such an isolated area in a place called Chuckytuck, Virginia. I grew up 1.5 miles from the nearest secondary road. A lot of isolation as a child, primarily staying with animals. I was, at the time, I didn't realize what a blessing that was. but I wasn't programmed by the outside world that much. And my parents, God bless them, were very unconscious people, and they basically thought if there was a roof over my head and food on the table and clothes on my back, they were done. And so I grew up like this kind of free child of being able to read what I want and do what I want. And I spent all my time with animals and nature. So it just opened up my intuition. And I also grew up in sadly, my father was a 6'5", 300-pound raging alcoholic and very violent. And so when you grow up with massive violence, you become very intuitive. And that you learn not to trust what you see, but you learn to trust what you feel. And it's very typical of very abused children to become very psychic and keenly aware of environments. And that led me to a lot of, as you can tell because you read my book, a lot of adventures in the paranormal world, which, by the way, honest, Kevin, I thought were absolutely normal, that everybody's dead grandmother talked to them at night and that blue gold orbs appeared and strange things happen. Remote viewing. And I mean, I just thought that was all natural. I was quite surprised, by the way, to get in high school and that was not natural.
Well, you know, and as well, you know, normally when life comes in as well, when high school comes in, boys and everything else, you would have thought that would have been sort of capped off into a later date. But it sort of followed you through as well. That spiritual side, you know, stayed with you. You know, there wasn't a sort of aha moment at a certain point in your life, was there?
No, I was very fortunate in a very young age because I felt so unloved and in my home, in my environment, that I found this Miss Samantha, who was really, some people called her a white witch. I called her Glenda, but her name was Miss Samantha. And she actually gave me adult courses in spirituality and metaphysics, you know, at this, you know, first grade level. And she made me write it down in journals. I mean, when I would work with her, which I didn't know was working with her, she would go, oh, here's a journal. No, you need to write all this down. And by writing that down, Kevin, it started a lot of things. It first started me to be a writer and I've journaled every day of my life since I can remember. But it connected me with the safe family, the spiritual family, the invisible world. Because if it hadn't been for the invisible world, I would have killed myself at 12 because life was so horrific for me and so difficult. And I honestly did not believe, I thought my father would kill me by the time I would be 18 years old. So he was a good soul. It's just alcohol just took him.
And could you go down the line that you maybe chose those parents and they chose you?
I absolutely chose those parents, and I want you to tell you this knowledge just irks me beyond words. Of all the metaphysical, spiritual knowledge, what the hell did I do? And apparently I wanted to be very independent, and I wanted to do it on my own. And on the other side, that must have sounded very romantic and easy, because on this side, it was nothing romantic. It was nothing easy. However, I will tell you that as tough as things were, it was all like a boot camp to be the person I am today.
Yes.
Because I am afraid of no one. I mean, no one. I am afraid of no one. I am 5'6", but I am 6'5" when I am mad. And I am fierce. I am a gladiator. I am so tough. And in the business world, that has made me an ultra successful woman. Because I can walk into any meeting. I don't care if you're the president of the universe. I am not afraid of you. I'll speak my truth. And that, again, you know, it's traveling for a living. I used to be a professional photographer, and I traveled around the world doing landscape photography and got myself in all kinds of, you know, like I could get killed in this situation, talked my way out of it. So I can see that I chose it. And it's a very hard thing to think that you do that, but we do choose it, and there was a reason. And today I'm a living example of, hey, if you can survive that, you can survive anything.
Yeah, and for you to if you be able to look at that situation and see it in such positivity as well, and have recognised your connection with them, that's a beautiful thing.
Yes, and I'm not. A lot of people notice that I'm really not mad at my parents because truly they were victims of victims. Both sides of the family. There was all of this craziness, and somebody had to, break the chain of pain, and that I chose to be that. And I know that I chose them. I'm not sure they chose me. I was no JH either, by the way, because I was very determined and headstrong, and because they didn't want girls. Okay, I was going to be the biggest badass girl you have ever seen. Crack shot, horseback rider. I got kicked out of school for fighting. I mean, I was a serious contender. So I know I look very dainty and feminine.
You're scaring me. Don't worry, I would not mess with you. You're okay, yeah. But for some guys, that's quite a turn on. But no, but
but interestingly enough, when you're in the business world, people judge you by your appearance until they start to talk to you.
Well, I like empowered women, and when it comes to business as well, because, we do still live in a world where two people doing the same job, yet one wears a skirt, they get paid different amounts of money. It's just not right. So independent business women, the world needs more of them. And I'm sure if the world was run by women, it would be a little bit more peaceful, but hey-ho, it's where we are right now. To bring that feminine energy in. And of course, it's got to be balanced with the masculine. I'm not saying that, but I mean, if we had that in the world, would we war so much? Who knows?
Well, if I interrupt something that has nothing to do with my book whatsoever, but it's really proven that women operate from 4 modalities. We operate from mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual all at the same time. We're actually biologically a lot more complicated than men. I think most men would agree with that. Men operate from mental and physical most of the time. Not all men, but most men. Men like you who would also operate in the spiritual world. That's an exception for you. So, when people, get into that male-female thing, it really is the person.
Of course it is, yes, yeah. At a soul level, that's what you're referring to, absolutely. Well, and just for the audience as well, how did you get into the business side? Where did that sort of come from? Because that obviously plays a big part in all your work.
Well, at a very young age, I realized an important fact of life. To be powerful, you have to have money, and that you have to have money that you control. And that means that, a lot of women are led to believe that you need to marry money or inherit money, or somebody should give you money. And the truth is, to be powerful, you need to earn your own money as much as possible in the world that I grew up in. And so when I was 12 years old, I started my first business, and I had 37 people working for me at 12 years old. And we were on the farm. It was just labor, but it was still me in front of 37 people, and my only way to motivate them was water and rest. And my nickname at the time was One More Row, because we have crops of peanuts, which are low-lying plants, which the weeds would get around, and you had to take a hoe that you would chop and remove all the weeds. And I had 110 acres with a really bad storm coming, and I really learned very quickly how to lead. And so from 12 years old till now, I have worked in all kinds of part-time jobs, usually in sales, and it has led me to people recognizing my talents, which is talking, communicating, and so offering me jobs. My first job was a rock and roll disc jockey and an all-female radio station. I kind of lied and told them I was 19. I was 17 in high school. And you could see that, I was like a woman on my own path. And so I realized that being a rock and roll disc jockey was a lot of fun, but it didn't make any money. The sales were where the money was. And so I went into sales. And once you're good in sales, and by the way, just so everybody knows, really good salespeople are nothing but really good educators. Because when you have a really good product you believe in, you don't really sell people. You match their needs, and you educate them of what are the benefits of the product to the person. And so I had a high integrity. And one of my first books was called Spiritual Power Tools for Successful Selling, where I integrate the God source and being of service into sales. And so it just, I always say that the universe gives you breadcrumbs on where you should be. And success always has come to me because I was at the right place at the right time, but I also exhibited the right skills, abilities, and talents, and I'm very assertive towards what I want. I don't wait for it to just appear. You know, in The Secret, the big problem with the movie The Secret in the book was it was all about a lot of universal principles, but they deliberately left out the action. You know, take that when you get inspiration, and you don't take action on it, the universe works through people, and that so people are meditating for a Mercedes to appear in their driveway, and it doesn't happen, or a job to happen that they haven't applied for, or the soulmate of their life, but they're hiding in their bedroom. This is all BS. You cannot manifest in the world without deciding what you want, getting inspiration, action, when to take action, and then taking action at that time, because then the invisible world has arranged things for you. But you're in the physical. You've got to take action. Like you have this great show, but unless you go out there and get guests, I mean, it's just you on the show.
That's right.
And so I'm always, as you can see, I'm 1 foot in heaven, 1 foot on earth. I'm very balanced. I'm very left brain, right brain balanced. And that is why the book came about, is to help people understand that we're here to manifest, but to manifest what we want. Not just climb the ladder of success like we've been told by other people, not to do what other people tell us to do, but to really listen to our soul's calling of how do you capitalize on what skills, talents, and abilities you came to Earth to use.
Well,
not the popular thing is, but what you came to Earth to use.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you, you know, what makes your book different in a sense compared to the other, if you want to class them as law of attraction books, you know, if you're going to put that in the same genre. But you've kind of answered that there as well. Well,
it's also different in the fact that I really don't just talk about the theory of law of attraction. I really give you the tools. Here's the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s, all the tools on how to actually do that, because I read every metaphysical book I can put my hands on, and often I come away feeling like, okay, I'm all excited about that, but how the heck do you do that? I mean, what is the big secret? People write these books on manifesting that you can do it, but often they don't tell you how to do it. So I'm all about telling people, even if you've never been into metaphysics before, because I really wanted to bridge the gap, Kevin, between people who are deeply into metaphysics, advanced metaphysicians, and people who are just leaning into the spiritual metaphysical world, you know, to be able to capture both of those audiences. And so the person really into metaphysics feels good about it because of the stories, and the new person doesn't feel intimidated to try new things.
Right. Okay. Well, that's a big difference with your work. It's combining both sort of, you know, both sort of people that may come across this book. Okay. And with your book as well, would you say that you have to really be in tune with what it is you want? That you know, the universe only would know the word yes, in a sense, but unless you know what it is that you're after, you know, attracting, then it can't give you it. I mean, it sounds so simple, right? But is that a big key?
Yeah, absolutely, that's absolutely true. So think that you're an airplane, and you're the pilot of an airplane, and so today you want to go to Rome, so you start steering towards Rome, wherever you are. But in an hour or so, you think, well, maybe Madrid. Okay, got to turn the plane.
You changed your mind.
Changed your mind. And that's how most people are all day long. They're going to Rome, they're going to London, they're going to Madrid, they're going to New York. They never get traction. They never get momentum with energy. And everything is energy. Every thought that you and I have, good or bad, right or wrong, true or false, is an energy. It's a 4-volt of electrical energy. And the universe reacts off what you say you want. And most people are never clear about what they want. And so it's very hard for them to get momentum in what they want and actually get into the money or get into what I call the rewards of manifesting. So I was very clear at a very young age that I wanted to be independently wealthy, that I wanted to earn my own money, that no one could take it away from me, no one could trap me, nobody could, because of the violent childhood, this need to create my own security. Security is not outside of myself. And, people are always saying to me, oh, I want security. And I'm going to borrow a line from someone. The only secure place is prison. I really don't think you want to go to prison. All security is externally out. There is no external security. Everything can change on a dime. And I'm a history buff. So I study history, and it's very interesting how, people will be wealthy one day and their country overrun, by invaders, and then they're homeless, and if that happened, I would be up and running again very quickly because I've developed all these deliberate skills to adapt and to scan the landscape of my reality looking for opportunities. And so that's what, as an entrepreneur, that's what I teach. That's what I do, is I'm always telling people the universe is constantly shifting and that we actually invoke from the universe opportunities. But we have to have that desire. The desire is the starting point for all achievement. And spiritual people get so confused about money and desire and wealth, and they get so confused, like, well, I'm spiritual. So material things shouldn't mean anything. Well, if you're cold, a nice coat is very handy. And if you're hungry, a little money in your pocket is very handy. And, we happen to be living on Earth. So let's deal in the reality that we live in. When we go to the invisible world, that's a whole different set of rules. So as you can tell, I'm very practical. I'm a big believer in prescriptive behavior, that I am very visionary. I can see into the future things that are going to happen. So I prepare now. I'm not waiting at the last minute. So we live in Virginia Beach, Virginia. We have hurricanes. I'm sure you've heard of hurricanes. And, some people wait until like the day of the hurricane to go to the grocery store to buy water.
That's right.
There is no water, there's no beer, and there's no chips on the last day of the hurricane. If you want beer and chips and water, you got to go early.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Would you say then that okay, so you've got to be you've got to know what it is that you want. Yeah, you have to be, and you need to see that through as well. Do we see it through enough? Do people give up too early sometimes?
Oh yeah, the slightest discomfort, disheartenment, or challenge, they just collapse. It fascinates me. Now, growing up on a ranch, the one thing that I really learned was an incredible work ethic, because we got up at 4:30 in the morning. I got up at 4:30 in the morning to take care of the horses, and then I went to school, and then I came home from school, and then I had all these chores and horses and animals to take care of. And I grew up, our garden was 3 acres. Our garden was 3 acres. So, the amount of work for the garden and the preparing of the food. And I grew up in a reality where, since the nearest grocery store was 18 miles away, we were totally self-sufficient. And, today they have preppers for that, afraid things going to happen. But I grew up with this desire, this knowing that anything that you want is going to take effort. It's going to take perseverance. It's going to take overcoming obstacles. If everything were easy, then everybody would be wealthy and successful. But the fact that you give up because there's a slight little inconvenience is really a lack of character. That people, they don't have this fortitude of
I will do what it takes to make my dreams come true. That's got to be your motto. I will do whatever it takes. Now, by the way, Kevin, there are times that you'll have dreams that the universe is just slamming the doors. No matter what you do, the doors close. That means the timing is wrong. And it's not personal. It just means the timing is wrong. As a business owner, I have failed at many things because I would try to do something because it seemed like the trendy thing, or I could catch a little wave of something, but I wasn't the right person for it. The timing wasn't right for it. But because I failed at it or didn't succeed at it, something much better floated into my horizon, which I recognized and then went after. So I'll give you an example. I was in commercial real estate, which I absolutely hated commercial real estate. Me going to the city of Virginia Beach looking at sewer plots was not my idea of what I wanted to sign up for in life. And so what the good news is, I got invited to speak at many large environments. And people came to me and said, Lee Milteer, wow, you are a phenomenal speaker. You should be a professional speaker. So, the universe tells you through other people hints of this is your talent, this is your ability. And when I went back to my life, Kevin, the only thing I ever did well in school was speaking. Like in my 7th grade, the first thing I ever did that the teachers ever even noticed me was I gave this great speech on horses. And they were my passion. And my teacher actually stood in the back of the room and went, oh my God, you actually do something well? She was shocked. I won all of the contests in high school. It's the only thing I did that was exceptional in high school besides school. I was just this natural speaker. And so the secret of making money, the secret of success, is to going into your life and analyze where are you naturally talented. Where's that sweet spot that you do so well that people will pay you for it?
Yeah, so you were just saying there that we've got to find our what we're naturally good at. That's very interesting. In your experience then, to use the law of attraction, one of the ideas to use it is to be in alignment with that which is your natural ability. So how do we find that part of us?
I was just looking. I have a book called Success is an Inside Job. And chapter 2 of that book, there's this whole thing about going through your childhood and identifying what your dreams and aspirations were as a child, really young, before you got too programmed. And the other thing was to look for what you had done well. So I just told you this story about being in the 7th grade. Yeah. So when I got to be in my early 20s and I was kind of floundering a little bit, I'm selling, I'm making money, but especially in commercial real estate, what the heck am I supposed to do? Because this is not it. I really started analyzing that I had to be in alignment with what I did naturally, that who my soul, because we're not just this lifetime. So I'm an author. I've written 10 or 11 books, and I have had no programming. I've never been to a writing course.
Incredible.
Nobody's ever taught me squat about speaking or being a writer or sales or any of that. I naturally had that. It had to have come in from other lifetimes.
Yes.
Now, I have a mystery school. It's at Lee Milteer School of Wisdom. And I teach in my mystery school that you can pull in traits from other lifetimes. You can actually pull in skills and abilities that you had in other lifetimes, as long as your existing lifetime supported it. Okay? Like, I am not a natural athlete. Okay? I'm not bad. But nobody's going to ever elect me for the Olympics, okay? So for me to try to become a tennis champion or a golf champion, maybe I would be okay, because I'm pretty good, but I'll never be the top person. I'll never be in the real money-making or influence. But you put me into a negotiation deal or speaking in front of, a lot of people or writing or any of that, this just came through and we all have it. Every person on earth has it. It's just that our world has so programmed people not to honor what they're in alignment with. There's a lot of well-meaning but very clueless people out there giving advice. Like if you go to a guidance counselor, oh, by the way, I lived in the guidance counselor's office in high school. I mean, absolutely lived there every day. Because when I was in high school, there was like 10 things for women to do. Let's see, be a teacher, a nurse, a gym teacher, I don't even know. But all 10 things, I'm like, nope, can't be any of those things. Never did they say, go out and be a radio station disc jockey or go be, this or that. And so I urge people to look into what do you like to do? What do you do with what would you do for a living even if they didn't pay you?
Well,
what would you do for a living?
Yeah, that's not a bad starting point actually. If you wasn't going to make money from it, you weren't doing it for the money, what would you do? I'm very guilty of always saying, yeah, but I want that. Where's the money for it? Do you know what I mean? Where's the I like wealth. I don't think there's nothing wrong with wealth. Yeah.
Wealth is good.
Wealth is good. There's nothing, and it's what you do with it as well. If you're gonna, I don't intend to, make loads of money, but not to do something good with it, not to be of service with it. I think that's the different space that I come from now.
Yes, I'm sure you read my bio. I'm a dame. Been knighted, and I've been knighted because of all the work I do for raising money for animal charities. I can beg for money like you have never seen before for animals.
Yeah.
And helping. And like today, I know our Thanksgivings are on different times,
yes.
But I wrote a really, really, really large check for the homeless to be fed on Thanksgiving. And that's what wealth is to me. It's not about hoarding money in the bank, because if you hoard money, you actually stop the flow of money. Money is an energy. It's a flowing thing. And remember in my book, I talk about the 5 types of energy: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial. And that financial energy is a very important part of us, and that we literally have to, we have to maintain that in a very conscious manner. So we're having so much fun on this interview. I forgot what your question was, but it's about finding yourself.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, it's like, go daydream. What would you really like to be? Now, a lot of people say, I want to be a rock star. Or, today's really young generation, they want to be the Kardashians. They just want to be beautiful
or a YouTuber.
And rich. What BS? Can I talk here? Is this bullshit? It is bullshit. The Kardashians is a business. It's an absolute business. Yep. And it's the business of being wealthy. They have found a niche that they sell themselves to, which is fine. It's just that we all have our talents and abilities. And our job on earth, our soul is trying for us to hear and know that. And because we all have to earn money, and I've done jobs and things I didn't want to do because the rent was due. I know that. I've been there more than once for many years. But I've also learned that I can balance, even when I was really poor and had to do stuff I didn't want to do, I still could balance out my spiritual life by my charity rescue, by, doing things for people. Play Santa Claus, do a random act of love or something every day. One of my favorite things is going into a restaurant and seeing like the police or the firemen or the emergency techs and picking up their lunch. And then just, as I'm walking out the door, just waving and going, I got it, guys. And, and they're like, who is that woman? And why did she do that?
Yes, yeah.
Because I can. And I wanted to, because they do so much for everybody else.
Well, okay then. No, that absolutely, I completely agree with you. Would you say then what it is that you're looking to manifest we may have asked this, but has to be of service to others?
Absolutely. I am born to be of service to other people. I am born to be, I know this sounds corny, but a messenger of the light. I really deeply feel I'm a light worker. people who work in consciousness and metaphysics. Even though we have to, we live in the material world, we have to operate and do everything we do, but we're here really trying to raise the consciousness of the world. We're trying to get into this. Trying to get the consciousness to shift up, more humanity, less war, taking care of each other. Making sure that people are fed, that children are raised beautifully, that animals are respected and loved. Because I came from the land, I have so much love for the earth.
Yes.
And I cannot save everyone and everything, but in my own way, I can make a contribution. And I want my legacy in life to be a woman who made a difference, a good role model. And I'm a wild child. I mean, I'm not your little meek little person, just doing good things. I mean, I'm outrageous. I want to be wild and have fun.
Absolutely.
And because I can make such more of an impact with my personality, people will be attracted to my book. And because I'm a wild child versus this, very normal thing. By the way, I've had 3 TV shows in my own area. Whenever I'd interview people who were very straight, I was bored during the interview. I'm like, oh my gosh, can we edit this out? Can we get somebody who has some energy and vitality and have fun? Because, people are watching this thing.
Yeah.
Let's get some great energy. But everybody has light in them. We're in a very weird time of life. There's the more stress than I've ever seen within people. I'm a business consultant. I primarily only work with the owners of businesses. And I have never seen the world in this much fear, stress, anxiety, and uncertainty. I've also never seen so much mental illness.
Yes. Well, that's probably shining a bit stronger just right now with all the changes going on. The world is it. Well, we do tend to do things the hardest way.
Apparently.
I
Yes.
think so. Yeah, that's what I get told. But we humans always do things the hardest way, and it doesn't need to be so difficult. And I think that's what there's messages in your book all the way along there that we can have the life we want. Now, with your law of attraction, that's my words I'm using there. But it's not. Your book's not just about business. It encompasses all sorts of things. So, some people may be attracted to this book just for a new relationship, for example.
Yes, as a matter of fact, the book I've gotten so much feedback, new relationships, finding the home of their dreams, just finding their real reality, what they were aligned to. In fact, I really don't talk about business that much in the book at all, but I do try to put that in there because we do live on Earth and we are, again, the 5 kinds of energy. And if I could, I'd like to give your listeners a gift. I have a video series. It's called The 5 Types of Energy. You can go to 5typesofenergy.com, and it's FIVE, not just 5, typesofenergy.com. It's only $97, but it's a 5 video series. I'm gifting it to your listeners. And it's 5 videos, and each video will just talk about, they're about 15 minutes each, what mental energy is, what physical energy is, emotional, spiritual, and financial, and then how you use it as currency every single day to manifest what you want in your life. And this is important because people don't know how to spend their, what I call life currency. And if they want to manifest more, you have to have this awareness, the skill to spend this reality that you're in, the currency correct. And so I hope this is helpful.
Thank you very, very much for that. And we're just putting a link on the screen now for that. So so everyone can just log on there now and have a look as well. What would you say in the sense that when you know what it is that you desire to manifest, have you always got to have that focus or that thought with you all the time? How should you train yourself to see that image, and how many times a day, and before it's manifested. I mean, you know, I know when I've manifested stuff in the past, I've constantly had it in my head, and you know, somehow in its own time, it's come in.
Well, you know, there's two schools of thought. So if it's an insignificant thing, like I always get people to say, so let me just do something really, really fun. You've never done this before. So when you get in your car, you put your seatbelt on, and you know where you're going for a change. Imagine the parking place you want to park at. Just imagine it, and then totally let it go. And when you get there, just have this expectation it will be there. And you might drive by the first time because you got a little delayed at something. You drive by the first time and there's no parking place there, and you think, oh, this stuff doesn't work, and you know, all that silly stuff. But you know, just relax, visualize it again, and before you know it, someone will pull out and you will move right in. Those are the easy things. You have no attachment to those things. Now the bigger things, like when I wanted my own big television show, I had to work on that pretty daily, imagining myself as already having the show. By the way, every time you have a thought, good or bad, right or wrong, which I said, you create 4 volts of electrical chemical in your brain. It goes from your conscious mind to your subconscious mind, creates a picture. You think in pictures. So when you visualize or mental rehearse, you've got to picture a new reference. If you hold on to that reference, you actually magnetize it towards you. But the reference has to be solid. It has to have momentum. You have to start to believe it has already occurred. It's an important aspect of that. So I'm right now working on a big television show that I'm working on. And every morning I get up and I do 2 things. I imagine myself that we're already doing the shows and we're already in the guts of the shows. In other words, I'm having the meetings with my production managers about the timing and the guest and what if somebody doesn't show up and all the things that go with that. Every little detail, just playing. I call it my playpen, just playing in that world. The other thing that I do, which I talk about in the book, both of these things, envisioning, I do this thing called scripting. I write this story about Lee Milteer as if it has already occurred. So I will go almost a year in advance and I will use 2 phrases. And so it was. Lee Milteer, da 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 da, and then I do all the details of it. Or my new thing is, I started off, wow, what an incredible year. Lee did this and Lee did that. And so I just built this big monster house on the beach. It took 10 years to do it, but every day for 10 years, I imagined this house. It took me 8 years to buy the house and recover from buying the house to save the money, and then 2 years to build the house. But I played with what color, like I'm in the house right now, office, purple. I played with the colors. I played with what the refrigerator was going to look like, what the bathroom tile was going to look like, and what furniture was going in there. And when you do that, folks, you're magnetizing that reality towards you. You're also magnetizing the means to pay for it towards you. This is very important because this is a big house. And it was my big bucket list house, my big dream house. And so I would have dreams about the house and go call the architect in the morning and say, oh, I had a dream and we're going to change this. And I would do that. And of course, he thought I was insane, but I didn't care because I was paying him. But like one morning, I dreamed that I should make an apartment in the house. So when I'm 100 years old, somebody can move into the house with me and take care of me instead of ever having to go to, some other place.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
And by doing that, when you're playing with reality, you now get downloads, inspiration of that project, of things you could do to make it better.
Yes.
And so, Kevin, most people just react to the world. I'm a person who plans, thinks about, analyzes, prescriptive behavior. What can I do better? Here's the question. How can I make that vision even better?
And isn't it? Well, yeah. How could you? Go on.
I mean, that's a question you should ask yourself. Like every day you get up and ask yourself, by the way, questions are the secret to success. Because when you ask yourself a question, your mind goes up into your brain and looks for all the files but your intuition opens up and your connection to your spirit opens up, because we have free will. They can't just, hey, Lee, you should be doing this. I have to ask them, may I please have your direction?
Right, of course. So you're working with that side all the time, with your higher self, if you want to call it that, your guides, whatever it may be, however you manifest it to be or believe it to be, then you create it so. Just going back to the house as well, we were talking earlier on about how we should be of service to people, that what we do is got to be a benefit to someone. Now, obviously, the house is a benefit to yourself because it's a roof over your head. But how do we align that with, okay, so how was the house a benefit to others, if that's how we should treat the manifestation process?
I love this question. Okay. This is a very big house. It's exquisitely done. I personally helped over 200 workmen pay their weekly salary, put their kids through college, put food on the table. My specialty closet, that guy is a carpenter who told me, he said, I loved working for you. He said, you were the nicest person to work for. You paid on time. He said, every week I knew I had money, to give my wife. The landscapers, the roofers, the foundation people, the painters, the tile people, the designers, the architect, the builder, the contractors, all the people at the city, the fees that you have to pay. I helped so many people live their reality. Yeah. Because, I've had people say to me, well, don't you think that's a little ostentatious? And I went, why?
No, it's true, though.
They said, it's only two of you. Why did you need such a big house? And I went, because I wanted it.
Oh, sorry, right, you're ostentatious for the house. I was like, oh, well, no, you deserve it. Why don't you deserve it?
I work really hard. I'm one of the hardest working people you ever know. It's not like I don't work. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. I pretty much work 6 or 7 days a week.
Well,
but I love working.
That's an interesting point you've just raised there, because that's almost saying that person that asked that question would always say to himself, well, I would feel guilty of manifesting this, or I'm in fear of manifesting. So, the two things that put people off from manifesting, I would say, is probably fear and guilt.
Well, one, guilt is a useless emotion. It is produced by, again, clueless but well-meaning people to control you. I'm very clear about that. I think a lot of organized religions keep everybody in shape by making them feel guilty about things. Instead of connected to spirit, we're connected to what other people are saying. Your real success in life is being connected to your own spirit, listening to your own downloads. Fear is fantasized experiences appearing real. By the way, this was a 10-year project. A 10-year project. Yeah. Bought the land. Yeah. For 10 years, held the land, paid taxes on the land, planned the house. I wouldn't start the house until I was absolutely clear exactly what I wanted in the house, because I'm not moving again. Voluntarily, I'm never moving again. So, by the way, I'm a business owner. I am a provider. I provide jobs for all my employees. I have 5 employees and their families. I provide them with health care and flex time and bonuses, and I treat them like gold. And so I make such a contribution in the world to other people. But unless you're doing something with your life, you're not making a contribution. You've got to do something with your life. You just can't set and take from the world. You must give to the world.
Yes. Absolutely. What if your only intention really with the manifestation process is just to you want money, you just want to experience wealth?
You can do that. This is a free will zone. You can do that if that makes you happy. There is absolutely who are we to judge that? By the way, I do believe certain souls do come in, as we call it, to skate. Meaning ease. Maybe they've had many hard life reincarnations, and maybe they just choose to come in as something different.
So don't judge.
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to judge and, see homeless people like, go get a job. Well, if they're mentally ill, they don't function well. They can't get a job. They can't hold a job. It's very easy to judge, but we don't live in their shoes. We don't know what's in their head. It's a real challenge for all of us not to judge. But there are people who just, look, I have a good friend. I swear to you, she's been a friend for many years. The only thing she wants in life is a happy family. This woman just wants to be madly in love with her husband, to cook great Thanksgiving dinners and Christmas dinners and decorate her house she just wants, her whole purpose of life is to love. I actually envy her because she's so clear about what makes her happy.
Yes.
So she's the gal at the grocery store buying all the decorations for everything. And, I'm the gal making...
selling the groceries, yeah.
reservations at the restaurant.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, yeah.
I'm giving them a tip very well.
Yeah, and like you say, everyone's doing what where their soul is. What you're offering is there's another way as well, if you so choose it, and if you've been thirsty to get out there and nothing's been working, what about the people then who have tried and have failed, and they just can't seem to make this process work, and they listen to a number of interviews like this, yet they always walk away thinking, right, okay, yeah, I'm all pumped up now, I'm going to do this, and then something blocks them and they don't get on with it, the manifesting process, and then they blame.
Kevin, I deal with that all the time. In my hometown in Virginia Beach, I used to do a lot of prosperity seminars. And then every once in a while, it's like the same people showing up for the seminar I gave last year on teaching you how to do this. I'm like, I gave you all the tools, but it's not that this doesn't work. It is they're not following through. They're not listening to their inspiration on the timing of when to do things, or they're not really giving it 100%. When I've really gone and studied this, I believe that these principles are universal principles that absolutely work. But I've turned my life over to God, to the infinite intelligence. And so if the infinite intelligence directs me in a certain way, I'm going with that direction. I'm not trying to tell God what to do. I'm really trying to co-create with God. And I think that a lot of people just don't realize that in the earth, you can only do so much. But if you've got spirit with you, you can do so much more. So they're either not adding spirit to it, or they're not listening to spirit, or they're trying to do something that they aren't intended to do. Their soul didn't want them to do that.
Right. They're fighting against what? Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a difficult one to accept as well, or to even recognize, I bet.
So I'm going to share a personal story. So for many years, very, very, very wealthy men were attracted to me. And they were attracted to me because they liked all the energy, and I don't know what they thought about me, but whatever they thought about me was they wanted to to acquire you. Like, okay, so if I married this guy, I would be this wealthy woman. I would never have to work another day in my life. However, I would be under their thumb. So there was this one particularly wealthy guy who was unbelievably wealthy. And I actually, for a few nights, prayed, please, God, let me love this guy. Because it would have made life so much easier, I thought at the time. But there was no way I could be attracted to him or see my life with him. And I got this vision that if I let myself get tricked into the money thing, the outside money thing, if I sold myself to that I'd get really ill and die.
Wow.
And so I chose a path of I'll earn it myself, I'll create my own world, and I'm like the healthiest person on earth. I mean, I'm always healthy. I'm filled with energy and health because I listen to spirit. It's not my destiny to be some trophy wife?
Yeah.
Everybody, but there are women who want to be trophy wives.
Well, and just keep your train of thought here as well. I would also say that these guys came through as a test for you as well.
Oh, absolutely. And a couple of times I almost failed. because the private jets and the homes in Paris and the homes in New York. Oh my gosh!
God, you gave all that up, bloody hell.
It's quite heady. Yeah. And then you go back, and then you're working in a real gal, and I'm on the airplane waiting for 6 hours for a plane that didn't make it, and bad things happen. I'm like, why didn't I marry the rich guy?
Because you passed the test and you didn't. That's why.
It was not my destiny.
No, of course, that's what I mean.
So many came to me at the time, but now, so I married a really wonderful man who was not wealthy, but is a total support to me. And I when I met him, I fell in love with him the moment I saw him, and we've had many lifetimes together, and it's a very happy marriage, and that was really what I wanted. I wanted to have a happy marriage.
Yes. And that's what your book is radiating as well. To flow in with your story, that you can get you are. It's your right for happiness. It's your right in this lifetime to have what you want. You may have a few tapes playing in the background, or a few negative ideas about that you're not worthy, or you're not lovable, or you don't deserve this, but you do.
Yes. There's I have this on my. I'm going to show it to you. It's taped up here, okay? This is how important this is. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you're doing, you will be successful. Albert Schweitzer. I just cut this out of a magazine yesterday, and I tape all this kind of great stuff up everywhere, but happiness is really the secret to manifesting.
It is.
You cannot manifest anything.
Yeah.
By the way, we're always manifesting.
Oh,
we
yes.
Manifest that stuff all the time. I'm sorry about that. But the truth is, we're manifesting bad stuff all the time. And so what we want to do is manifest consciously.
Sorry, I've just paused this because I know we're just gone over time a little bit here, but I will wrap up. Don't worry. I don't really want to let you go, but I know I've got to.
I scheduled another 20 minutes for us while you were messing,
okay.
So it's fine.
Okay. Well, I'll be real quick. Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there. The happiness. I think that's probably a big part of the reason why those who see others that have it so easy or are using the manifestation process and they can't use it themselves. That's the key to it. Is they're happy what they're doing and they're trusting their intuition, and it's getting into that space of doing what you're happy doing. That sounds so easy, but I'm sure it's not so easy for some people.
Well, it's not easy, Kevin, because in our world of media, on an average day, a person is bombarded with over 3,000 media messages. And the messages are all from agendas. You're not young enough, smart enough, your teeth aren't white enough, your roots aren't done enough, your car is not nice enough, your house is not nice enough, your furniture is not nice enough, you don't have enough education, you're never good enough, because it's an agenda from the outside world to get you to buy stuff, right?
Doesn't it work?
And so what happens is, particularly women are very under this impression that I have to be perfect, I have to be the perfect woman, I always have to look perfect, I have to be perfect, I have to say all the perfect things.
That starts off at about 12 years old nowadays.
Oh my gosh, it's unrelenting, the pressure to fit in, to have, all your clothes have to have some big, sign on them from somebody to be worthy. This is all horrible, because the intrinsic right that you have as a human being to be respected and loved just because you were born is not our normal consciousness. And so I'm doing my best, you're doing your best, just kind of just open people's minds to there's more to life than just all the material things. I always say in my seminars, and I do seminars all over the world, is, if you really want to have a great family, make it more about the experience than the stuff at Christmas.
Yes. Because
stuff will be broken, forgotten in a short time. But if you have a trip together or you have an experience together that's good, you'll remember it forever.
Yeah.
Versus some video game that in 6 months is out of style and you don't remember what it is. And I'm always fascinated by the Christmas holiday season, because the panic that everybody gets through, because I grew up poor, we made all of our Christmas presents. So they were handmade. And I'm an artist. I don't know if you know that. I paint I need to have the artist experience to do what I do. I have to feed my soul with art and fun stuff. So I make stuff. And so I live at the beach, so I glue shells on everything. I mean, if I took you around the house, there's shells everywhere, glued on everything. But, it's just have an experience where you're touching their heart versus just spending out of your credit card. Will mean so much more. Now, some people won't value that, but, people who are really, I'm all about the heart center.
Yes, absolutely. And I suppose, we're almost at the end of the interview, and I appreciate you giving us the extra time here. But I guess through the experience that you've been through, because you've actually made this process work for yourself, the process of manifestation, the law of attraction, you've seen it work in your life. You realize then there's a much bigger picture taking place here. This reality you can manipulate it. You can have what you want, and it's more than just a fluke. There is something in this. Which I always find, there's the proof there. I've experienced it as well.
We've had many, many lifetimes, as many things, and this isn't it. I mean, it's not over at this lifetime.
No.
And all your skills and abilities you gain in this lifetime, you will be able to carry and access in another lifetime. And again, that's what I teach in my mystery school, a lot of how to tap into that school of knowledge that's already in your soul's repertoire. And so no matter what it is you need to do, you can call it in. And so one of the things we have to call in for ourselves right now is self-love.
Absolutely. What would you, that's very important as well, that is. What would you say, though, Lee, is the most important message of your book?
That if I can do it, anybody can do it. It was written of late of me by a very famous person that I was the most least likely of any human being to be successful. That I grew up in the middle of nowhere in very horrible environment with absolutely no money, no role models, no hope to get the heck out of Dodge. And yet, because I desired it and read and lived in the library and sought out people and would do whatever it was take, I was able to pull myself from poverty and hopelessness and alcoholism abuse to someone who is now hopefully sharing light in the world. So the most important message I really believe is that you are a self-fulfilling prophecy. What you think about yourself comes true. So your job is to think really good things about yourself so you become those things. And every day when you wake up is a restart. Yesterday is the past. The future is your imagination. Your only power is right this. So your point of power in this lifetime is right this second. Do something now.
Well, Lee, that's an absolutely beautiful message, and I hope everyone is listening to that. That's a very special message. Well, Lee Milteer, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we've come to an end on tonight's show. Don't forget that you can listen and watch all our past interviews on the More Show's official YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel for new daily shows. You may also find out more on all past and upcoming guests on the show via themoreshow.co.uk, and do like us on Facebook and Twitter for the latest updates. So until next time, be safe.